Hello. Today we're going to talk about the 400-meter race and things that are associated with the 400-meter race, like the 4x4. As I was writing out this plan today, I had some, reminiscent thoughts of my 4x4 that I coached in 2017 that got sixth in the state and how they should have gotten first. But that's another story for another time. And right now, we had Noah Hoffman, Dylan Gross, Alex May, and Colin Walters, and Tyler Gibson was the alternate for that relay. And then we were able to hit qualifying time. Qualifying time was 3 minutes and 57.50 seconds. And then we were able to get 3 minutes 49.32. You take that. Oh, you take that average, and it's 57.33. Now, our fastest person on the team for the 400 meter was this individual right here, and he achieved a time of about 54 seconds. 54.6 was about his average. That was his best time. And how crazy is it that I'm looking at some of these teams and we no longer compete against these teams at sectionals? I say that with joy and sadness. Like Dixon Reagan, they're a 4A school. We are now 3A. But back when it was 1A and 2A, we were stuck with the bigger schools. So it's just really crazy to think about it. Just crazy. Ah, but let's go ahead and let's talk about the 400-meter plan. And then unfortunately, I will be able to talk about this at practice too, but I'd like people to do the 400 and the 4x4 to watch this video because there's certain phases that we go through during the race. So the phases that we have are the first 7 to 8 steps, and then I've combined the 0 to 50 meters all as one phase. And I was really toying with a watermark, and I think I can still do it right here. It's my baby. It's Esau. But I didn't know how well that'd be received. But also, I didn't want stealing. I didn't want people stealing my material, so I'm just taking it off for now. But this is something, a resource that you'll be able to have for the rest of your track in high school and collegiate career. 51 to 200 meters, 201 meters to 300 meters, and 301 meters to 400 meters, and then finish line. All different phases. And then I'm going to go ahead and go into detail about these as well. So our first phase, the first 7-8 steps of the race in 0 to 50 meters, the number one question you have to ask yourself is who's holding your blocks? All right, I know at sectionals we had someone running a 200 meter, didn't hold their blocks. They fell because that force that they're pushing back against the blocks is going to cause them to fall down. Always have someone to hold your blocks. I might not always be around. Sectionals, state, depending on what is allowed, we're probably not going to be allowed inside the track. Could be wrong. But in past years, we're not allowed inside the track. So you need to find someone to hold your blocks, and people shouldn't be offended to hold blocks because we're not above holding blocks. We want our people to do good. We have to have someone hold our blocks. Blocks are angled. This is also called tangent to the curve. If you don't know what tangent to the curve is, that's fine. But blocks are angled. That's fine. We're not teaching any geometry and trigonometry topics. Blocks should be in a straight line so you don't automatically curve once you start. And if you do not know what I'm talking about, we'd be able to work with this in practice. Here's your pre-race routine. Pre-race routine. You have 2 RPR belly breaths, 2 tuck jumps, 1 motivational power word to help gain you confidence. And that word is lion. And I go in lion in a future phase down here. And then you're going to do 2 block start practices, and then you're good to go. Because I don't want you to just say, okay, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to get in the blocks, and then we're ready to go. No, I need you to be able to practice. And they always say the second or third block start is going to be your best. So I want you to be able to do 2. During the race, you are going to go as hard as you can for the first 7 to 8 steps and get an explosive rip of the arms. This will help us in our acceleration process and really help us with our drive phase. It is at a 45-degree angle until it naturally comes up. Do not shorten the drive phase. With the 400 meter, this is the longest sprint that there is. We do not want to shortchange us for our drive phase. The acceleration phase, drive phase, it is the same thing. I use them interchangeably. When we have an effective drive phase, when we are in proper efficient form in our acceleration, it's going to help us out with our max velocity phase. And right here, the next one. This is more of a visual cue that you can see, and I see it with our runners, and I've seen it with other people's runners. I can tell who really wants to win by the first 7, 8 steps. Who's really going after the first 50 meters. Because I know we have some people that just want to be passive and say, I don't want to start too fast and all that. No, you want to try to get up as close to 95% max speed at that 50-meter mark because you need to have a strong start. And I know people might be afraid with how much the race is going to hurt because it's 400 meters. Whether you start slow or start fast, at the end, you're probably going to want to realize that you don't want to do this race again. But the more you get comfortable with this race, the more you get better at this race, the more you can start appreciating what this race is. With the second and fourth steps in between those, we are pushing back, not down on the track because we're still in our drive phase. So if I have my right here, my little model right here, when we're pushing down, right here, we're pushing down on the track. I want us to be able to push back right here. So we are clawing the track and pulling it across. Pulling it behind us. I apologize. Pulling it behind us because we want to start doing our acceleration phase. And with our acceleration phase, we are having slower ground contacts. And when we get to max velocity phase, we are getting in faster foot contacts. All right, get off to a good start and not a passive slow start. Do not worry about how you feel after the race. I know we're in junior high. We might not take this as seriously as some. But I want you to do the best that you can, so that's why I'm starting to develop these plans. Don't worry about how you're going to feel at the end of the race. Worry about the here and now. By the end of the 50 meters, I would like you to be at 95% max speed. So let's move on to the next phase right here. 51 meters, 200 meters. This is where we float, and if you remember our float, it's 90 to 95% of our max speed. Working mechanics during the race. We want to make sure our mechanics are efficient. So I've named a few right here. Head up, chin up, chest up, knee up, toe up. That's dorsiflexion, relaxed hands. These are all very critical. And I know that some of us might need to work on these. I know some of you might not necessarily care about these. We need to have our head up. We need to stay engaged the whole time. It's a 400-meter race, and it's broken up into segments. Our head is up, our chin is up, our eyes are forward during this part of the segment. Our chest is up, our knee is up, we're in bucket position, and our toe is dorsiflexed as well. We have relaxed hands. If you want to do a loose grip right here, that's fine. I don't want a death grip right here with our hands because in that case, what's going to happen is we're going to start stressing our body and then our body's going to overcompensate and we're not going to be relaxed as we run. This is a part of the race. Do not lose focus. It's 149 meters of the segment race that I put in here. You want to continue to focus on your end goal. And after the first turn, we can get a sense of where we are in the race. And this first turn is the first 50 to 100 meters of the race. Do not look behind or to the side. How can we tell where we're at? So right now, if we're in lane 1, and then after the first 100 meters, and you can feel and you can see yourself passing, okay, you can feel yourself pulling away. And that lets you know that we're off to a good start. If, let's say, we're in lane 1, 2, and we see 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 people in the lanes, and that they're going out further and further from us, we know we're getting off to a slow start. And I don't want to have a slow start with our previous phase. But don't let the slow start stress you out because we'll be able to pick it back up. When we get tense, our shoulders, they raise right here. We need to remember to learn to drop our shoulders and have fluid arm motions. Some of us may get tired at this point, but we need to focus on aggressive arm swing. We don't run with just our legs. We run with our arms as well. So we need to be able to help out. So we need to continue to move our arms and we need to be aggressive, especially at the end of the race, which we're going to get to at that last segment. If you are behind, we have time to catch up. If you are out in front, I want you to stick to the plan. I don't want you to just let up and say, okay, I'm now in front. I can slow down and then I can relax. No, I don't want to do that because I don't want people hanging around. Just like with the mile and just like the 800. If there is sizable gap in space from two runners, I don't want that runner that's behind to get a sense that they can catch up. I really just want to shift their mindset and say, I'm not catching up. And that's what I want our runners to do. I want them to break spirits of other people by saying, I'm out in front and I'm not losing control. I'm not losing this lead. All right, the 201 meter to 300 meter segment. There we go. See if this is distracting. All right, half the race is over, but we need to hone in our goal. We need to necessarily reinvest, re-engage, refocus in this race. So we need to build upon our speed right now. You may think this is too hard, but we need a strong sports psychology word such as line to get us through. I'm really fascinated by sports psychology. I've been teaching it to my team since 2017, since I've been at Logan, because I know that everyone has their own things that they can focus on, but we can all focus on one word that gives us power, that gives us control, that will bring us back into the moment. And the word that I use is lion. It just happens to be our school mascot. It really does. But with lion, a lion is fearless. They are feared, the king of the jungle. They are fast. They are ferocious. They are strong. They are powerful beings. And that's what I want our track athletes, our humans, our students, I want them to believe in that. Whether that word is blue or another animal or possibly a family member's name, something that's going to say, okay, I am now ready to attack. And that's what I want. I want some kind of phrase or word, something quick, so that just I don't want a full sentence where it's going to take so long just to replay it in the mind. One word, and you already know the meaning of that word, and that word is lion. Need to accelerate in this race. The 201 meter mark to the 220 meter mark, we're going to have to re-accelerate. Now, this might be hard for some individuals, but we have to break that mindset of it's too tough. It's too hard. It's a hard race. If you do any of the races correct, it's a hard race. I don't want you to leave anything left on the table, and I want everything, all the energy into this race. Okay, so if I could station myself, I would station myself right here, because who doesn't love Coach Clark yelling? Because at this point, you might need some, not internal communication, you might need some external communication. You might need someone to tell you, hey, you now need to re-accelerate into this. The proverbial wall is going to hit you. Where it hits you, it's going to be during this phase. And you're going to have some choices with the wall. And, there's walls with different races, but we're talking about the wall with the 400 meter. Do you give up? Are you done? Or do you want to continue to attack? Do you want to fight? Do you want to win? That's really what it comes down to. Mentally strong athletes support one another, encourage one another, and what they do is they fight through and they show adversity. So, what I want is if you decelerate in this stretch, you will not be able to pick up speed again. You need to be aligned and you need to attack this phase. You need to be able to attack the turn, and then there is no much more left. That doesn't make much sense. Not much more left. I wrote it. If you pull away, that's going to break other people's mindsets and they will not want to continue. In the 250 meter to the 300 meter phase, run like it's uphill. Now, we don't really practice on hills because we just practice at the track and we practice at Logan. But the meaning at the hills is I want your knees up, I want the feet up, I want the dorsiflexion, I want an aggressive arm swing because it's going to feel like a lot and it's going to feel like a challenge. But if you treat this like a hill and you continue to push, you're going to get over that hill. And that hill, 250 to 300, it's going to be a hill. Continue with an aggressive arm swing. I cannot say that enough. And dig deep, high knees, chest up, better arm action, and dig deep because we're about to be on the straightaway. All right, 301 meters to the 400 meters. Who wants it? Come down to who wants it. Who has set themselves up pretty good in the previous segments to now finish this race. All of the energy that you have, all the energy that's left, goes into this phase. Big arms, because we have a tenacity. It's supposed to be a tendency. Because we typically do not have aggressive arm motion during this phase. I've seen it at the end of relays, of 4x4s, long distance events, 400 meters, and even 200 meters included. You need to have aggressive arms. You do not want to shorten up your strides. You need to continue with the same stride length. When you get tired, we shorten our strides. Do not severely overstride because your strides or you will lose balance. Now, I debated on whether I just show a clip from a previous 4x2 where a person started to overstride at the end of the race and then they lost balance. I don't want to show that at this time because I don't want to make people afraid of events. So maybe at the end of the season I will show up. But if you're curious to see it, I can show you. But I just don't want to show that quite yet. Keep the mechanics in check. It's very important. Chest up, head up. You are still invested. You are still engaged. You're still focused in on the end goal. The end goal is get to the finish phase. The roar of the crowd will flood your body with adrenaline and will push you to finish. That's what I'm hoping. And any place we go to, home, away, sectionals, or state, people will be cheering. Adrenaline's going to be flowing. You're right now past the lactic stage. A lot of lactic acid building up in your body, and we've got to finish. All right, the finish line. All right, last 1 to 2 meters of the race. Do not start lean too early. Do not dive. I've seen people dive before. It looks like it hurts. I don't want my people to dive. When you get close to the finish line, you should lean forward and stick your chest out, arms out. We're going to be able to teach this technique at practice. But right here, if I was to lean, I got my chest up lean. And I don't want to start the lean too early because if I start the lean too early, then I'm still missing out on some meters during the race. I feel like with some of us, I want you to continue to sprint through the line. People that are a little bit more mechanically developed, we can do the finish line lean. All right, final notes. We have our comfort zone and the comfortable with fear zone. Our comfort zone is going not too fast, not too slow, and we don't risk anything. Or say, yeah, I'm doing the event. I really don't care about the event, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it because the team needs me to do. Our comfortable with fear zone consistently gets reestablished every race. We continue to cross this line into this zone. Now, what I want you to realize, every time you pass into this line and you go into the zone, eventually this zone becomes, it is extremely fun going this fast because it is fun going fast. You know, we have the wristbands, miles per hour. I don't think anybody wants to go slow. Going fast is fun. Having a race plan is even better. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and reach out through the Remind app or email. I'm not sure of the link to the video right now, but I'll be able to send this document out in person, probably without the watermark. Perfect. All right. Have a good day.